the Fantasy Podcast. News, reviews, and interviews from the world of myth and legend. With your host, Oliver McNeil.
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Podcast. I'm Oliver McNeil and I am now doing this in video and audio. So if you're new to the video, we have lots of audios, including interviews with Tom Baker, Ian Livingstone, Nightmare Live, Dan Baines from the Lebanon Circle, Marvel UK, Willow Management and loads of others. And if you're listening to this in audio format, we have a video. So our first video interview is with Terry Marcel, who is the Hawk the Slayer creator and director, and he's actually creating his follow-up 35 years later, which is Hawk the Hunter. Now, I've got an interview with him coming up shortly, and it's very interesting, and he talks about loads and loads of stuff, also about Dark Knight as well. Now, Terry's got his own Kickstarter funding for Hawk the Hunter, and coincidentally we have our own Kickstarter, which is funding for a live dungeon fantasy game. Now that sounds pretty exciting, I hope you agree, and here's the trailer coming up for that, followed by the Terry Marcel interview.
Imagine your favourite fantasy game, be that computer, board game, role-playing or book, and then imagine entering that game for real.
Hi, I'm Oliver McNeil, fantasy photographer, prop maker, scenic artist, legend quester, and the voice of the Fantasy Podcast.
I'm Matt Davis, actor, teacher, various heroic and villainous characters from Legend Quest. Created with theatrical props, actors, stage illusion and puppets, we want your help in creating a portable, adaptable, live dungeon experience.
The theatrical dungeon spaces can be used in many different ways. They can contain traps, monsters, puzzles, and of course, many different genres, sci-fi, fantasy and horror.
And this is my favourite, a fully audience interactive stage experience. The curtains open, revealing a newly created dungeon space. Members of the audience move into that space and proceed through the adventure together. Oliver and I have been working in the theatre and interactive entertainment industries for 30 years.
And now we want to offer that experience to everybody. So whether you come to here in Bodiam to see the dungeon yourself, or if we take it to you.
That's right. The dungeon is designed to travel and to fit into a space of approximately 100 square metres. So whether you come to us or we come to you, we can guarantee you a great adventure. We're offering some amazing and unique rewards. So please check them out and let's make this fantasy a reality.
Here's our special guest interview.
Hi, Oliver.
Hi, I'm Oliver from the Fantasy Podcast, and I'm with Terry Marcel, who is the director of Hawk the Slayer, a fantastic film from the 80s. What date was it?
1980.
1980 exactly,
Yeah.
Wow. And how did Hawk the Slayer come about?
Okay. I was directing two small Ray Cooney movies. Ray Cooney's stage plays that have been, we turned them into small budget movies.
Yes.
And the guy on them doing the music was a man called Harry Robertson. And on the second movie, which was There Goes the Bride, Harry used to come onto the set and used to say, play the music for me, and said, what do you think of that for this scene and whatever. So we used to chat a lot, and it turned out we both had a love of sword and sorcery, and we were both great fans of Fritz Leiber and Robert Howard, and we chatted away.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, I'm trying to do an action movie next. So he said, well, what's that? I said, well, I've got this idea that we could do you remember Ojimbo, the Kurosawa movie? He said, yes. I said, well, you know, that was changed to Fistful of Dollars. So I said, what I'd like to do is change it back to a 14th century knight who comes back from the Crusades, and we do the same sort of show. So
Yeah.
he said, yeah, it sounds good. I said, look, I'm off to Spain for a holiday, for 2 weeks with my family. I said, while I'm there, I'm going to knock out, you know, a rough script. And there wasn't sword and sorcery at this point. And so I'm there writing away, and I've got this character who comes back from the Crusades, and he's got the sword on his back. And I keep trying to work out how he's going to get this bloody sword out, because it's too long to literally do that. And then suddenly I thought, I know, I'll make it a magic sword. I'll have a, you know, a stone in it that's a mind stone, and he can think it into his hand. And that's when it became a sword and sorcery show.
And did you sort of really think about the world you're creating?
Once I went down that path, yeah.
Yeah. And have you fleshed it out? Have you?
Well, what happened then? Well, to continue the story, what happened was we made the movie. It got released in the UK, did extremely well. We went to America. On the basis that it was going to be released in America, we started to write a sequel, Harry and I, called Hawk the Hunter. Of course, when we got to America and we met everybody there that was involved in ITC distribution, the company collapsed and Hawk got sold off with everything else. So we were left with a sequel. So when Andrew had talked to me about doing the sequel, I went back and looked at the script, and there were a few things in there that we'd written that I don't know how we were ever going to do them. It was impossible.
So, such as, can you say?
Well, there's a changeling in it.
Yeah.
He's a little dwarf called Grey Rook, and he changes from a man to a bird.
Right.
Well, you know, that would have been tricky. There are a few other creatures in it which I don't want to reveal now because they are in the sequel.
Oh, that's good.
Which, I mean, we were thinking pretty, pretty high on the hog with some of this stuff. It was very difficult.
But when I was watching the original, you talk about all the dwarves, where these dwarves come from, and where these the wise men came from, and the magic must have been based on something, because it's fairly low tech.
Yeah.
Well, it's so low tech, but they have teleportations and sort of glowing.
Well, it was, and it was very superficial. So what happened was, while we were looking at doing Hawk the Hunter, we spoke to one of the lead independent distributors here called Content, and their feeling was there was a good possibility this could make a television series. Well, having created a television series before, I knew that Hawk the Hunter didn't have enough in it. There was enough, you know, to do a TV series that you always intend it's going to last 5 years. So you've got to have a very, very big canvas. So I had to go back and reinvent a lot of things, and I used the stone as the source of my new idea.
Yes.
And the Mind Stone becomes a very important part of the whole arc of a Hawk television series. So the idea is that if Hawk the Hunter works and people like it, then we go to a television series. But to do that, I had to go right back and to work out where Hawk, Voltan, came from, how that started, where the dwarf came from, where the giant came from, and I worked all these things out.
Yeah.
And now it's a much more complex story. And I can tell you a little bit because it's been in a blog that I've done. Initially there were 3 stones, and a rock troll steals these stones and they get dispersed. The moment he steals these stones, and I won't go into it now, magic is born in that land.
Right.
Okay? And Hawk possesses one. The wizards, who are elves actually, possess another. The third one, I'm not going to disclose at the moment. So it becomes more about the magic of the stones than anything else. And what's happened when these stones were introduced to this world, all crystals in this world became part magic. Now, if you were someone who was able to use them, I have a specific name for them, well, we call them gifted.
Yeah.
Hawk being the most gifted one. So you might be gifted enough to use a small amber stone and light a fire with it. That could be your gift.
Right.
But you could be a crystal mage, and you could be able to use 3 or 4 stones and create immense magic. So our overall strategy now is to create this world of super beautiful magic.
Yeah. one thing I really liked about the original was the feel of it, the character of it, because it was low budget and you were kind of limited by. I mean, to today's standard, what kind of budget would it have been?
Very difficult to say. The reason it was, I was a Pinewood boy. I started off at Pinewood Studios in 1960 as a mailboy. So, and I ran right the way through to becoming a third assistant there, so I knew everybody there. And one of the things that I was ever so grateful for, the studio actually said to me, look, we'll charge you a fixed fee, which was very low, and you can help yourself to anything in the studio. So of course my art director had access to the scene doc, which was then Mahusiv.
Yeah.
So most of the material and the stuff and the wardrobe came from Pinewood stock. So that's why I was able to deliver the sort of look that we got, and you know the quality of the stuff that we got. It was all from there.
And the woodland,
that was behind.
How big was that in reality?
That's behind Pinewood Studios. It's called Black Park. It's just a park.
How much of it did you use?
Not a great deal.
No,
just kept it because you know when you're making a movie, a small budget movie, you don't move your unit.
Yeah.
You try and stay in one spot because every time you move, you lose an hour or 2 hours of shooting.
Yeah.
So you say, that's where we are, and we're going to shoot all around there all day long.
It looks great. A lot of smoke was used on that.
Smoke was used on that, and that was, again, stolen from Ojimbo.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Beeson, who was the cameraman, and I sat down and reran the movie so that we could get the feel for it. And again, Kurosawa had used smoke in here, so why not learn from the master?
I love smoke. It looks amazing.
So,
and one of the things I liked about it was the details that you put into each scene. You could really say, did you storyboard it? Did you draw it all out beforehand?
No, I didn't.
Because there's one scene, I'd love you to just tell me how you came about it, was when you just panning, I think you're following Hawk on the horse, and you pan past and there's a little swamp, and there's some bubbling smoke going on there, and then a snake.
What we tried to do is we tried to give it that a touch of sorcery. We tried to say, well, these strange things exist, and if you watch it carefully, which most people don't see, there are other things in those panning shots that we put in just to spike people's interest. And strangely enough, that some of those have become very useful to me now.
Yeah.
So we can refer back to them.
Because you've worked. Oh, I'll carry on with Hawk the Slayer, and I'll talk about some of the other fantasy stuff that you've got involved with.
Yeah.
But you've got an amazing cast, and you've got Jack Palance, you've got Roy Kinnear, you've got
Alan Cosby, and
yes, brilliant English actors, working with American actors as
yeah.
well. And you went over to America to find Jack Palance.
No, I didn't go
and
to
Terry.
America to find him. No, John Terry I'd worked with before. When I did the very coony stage play, There Goes the Bride, we were shooting in Florida. Only had a week shoot there, and so the bridegroom we wanted to cast locally because we couldn't afford to take him, and we were introduced to this young guy called John Terry, and I thought, well, he's fantastic. He'll be a great bridegroom, and he was always in my mind. And the moment I started writing Hawk, I thought, he's Hawk.
Yeah.
And we had to convince ITC that he was the right Hawk, so they asked him to go into their office in LA and meet with their people. And once the girls in the office saw him, it was, oh, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's how we cast him. Jack Palance had always been on our mind because, again, Harry and I were both, we loved Shane, and we loved him as the villain in Shane. We loved the way he moved, the way he got off his horse. So wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get him? And our casting person said, well, I'll make contact. You read it? He loved it, and he wanted to come to England.
Did you can you remember the first meeting you had with Jack Palance?
He arrived the week before we started shooting.
That's the first time you met him?
Yeah, he arrived, he read the script. I went out, Harry and I went out to dinner with him and his wife that evening. We chatted about it. He had it down pat. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He didn't need any directing. He just knew what he was going to do.
Was he doing an English accent as well in the role?
Not really, no.
He toned his American accent down a bit.
He toned it down a bit, but the rest of it was pure Jack Palance.
Yeah. And if you haven't got the DVD of this, and please don't keep watching on YouTube, although you might be able to see bits on there, it's well worth getting for the extras. And there's some
Yeah.
there's some fantastic ones. One thing that I loved was the Swordmaster.
Oh, John Waller.
Yeah, talking about John Terry, and
Yeah.
saying that he was one of the best
Yes.
swordsmen he'd ever worked with.
He was indeed. Yeah, he was a natural. I mean, he was a natural with that sword. It was quite amazing. John Waller was a very interesting character. I liked him a lot. He was the long bowman champion of the UK.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
What other films did he work on? Did he?
I'm not sure, but in actual fact, some of the arrows that you see go into people in it, he shot them in. We didn't wire them in, he actually shot them. Because he kept saying to me, I can do it, I can do it. And I thought, oh my God, if he misses, every time, whack, straight in the centre.
Good luck. I don't think that'd be allowed nowadays, isn't it?
You get away with it. A lot of things we did on that you wouldn't get away with today.
And also Bernard Bresnell, wasn't it? Who,
Wonderful man.
American viewers, he was in Carry On.
Yeah.
Really lovely chap. Very different character to anything he'd played before. I know he was trying to get into more serious drama. Until he died at 53, I believe.
But he actually was a Shakespearean actor. I mean, he'd always wanted to play someone like him, and he was just perfect. Him and the dwarf, they made a wonderful couple.
Is it Peter O'Farrell?
Peter O'Farrell was fantastic, and in fact, because he dies in the Hawk Slayer, but in the sequel we bring another dwarf back, so that same banter will carry on.
And Peter O'Farrell used quite a bit, didn't you? He
I like
pops up a lot of things.
Yeah, he's done quite a few things for me. I tend to try and use as many people as I can that I've worked with before, particularly Ray Charlson, who in fact will be in the sequel, not playing his character, but he will be playing another elf who's called Bowman, and he is very important because I've built him up so that he can come into the TV series as well.
Oh, that's
so
right.
if we get a good response to the movie, then we'll try and put the TV series together, and he will be in that.
Fantastic. I'm going to talk about the new movie shortly, but I just want to revisit Hawk one last
Keep
time.
going.
All the internal scenes, was that one set or the chapel
No,
or the
they were all different sets,
all on Pinewood?
all at Pinewood, and all stock material.
Oh right.
Yeah, all stock.
All built from bits and pieces.
We just went into the scene dock and said, we'll have that, that'll make a good bit. Because you've got to imagine that was a major studio at that point with all its own facilities.
Yeah.
All the craftsmen, those able to make the swords, everything. It was fantastic.
And you had something really, which I haven't seen in a fantasy film. You mix nuns with fantasy, so you've got two different sorts of genres going
yeah,
on
a little
there.
bit of religion going on.
Is that something you might carry on? Is that something you're going to...
That would not be in the sequel, that would be in the series.
Right.
And it becomes a very important part of the series because there are not so very pleasant religious people in the series.
Right. So you didn't imagine that as Christians, did you? Or was it...
Yeah, I didn't really imagine there was any nuns.
Fantastic. Now, another show you worked on briefly was the Dark Knight, which I think was
Which I created.
Fantasy. Did you create that?
Yeah, I created Dark Knight, and we put it together. We did 26 episodes, 2 seasons. We were going to do a 3rd season, but unfortunately Channel 5 had a change of leadership, and whoever he was, I can't remember his name, decided that 6% of the audience wasn't big enough for him.
Wow.
And so we didn't get the 3rd series.
Because that was a similar kind of thing to Hawk Slayer, wasn't it? You had fantasy with a certain amount of history.
This is a genre I'm very happy in.
Yeah. And it was called Fantasy Quest in the America.
Whatever, I can't remember. They
Yeah.
called it so many things. Still sells. Yeah, it's quite an interesting little show. It was developing nicely. The 2nd series was so far superior to the 1st series, and of course we were, just beginning to use CGI and whatever. So it was good. And of course it was shot in New Zealand, and we used a lot of locations that Lord of the Rings used.
You got there first, though, obviously.
No, he got there.
Oh,
first.
did he? Really? Oh, I thought it was a little bit earlier than that.
No.
Oh, it was at the same time. So, wow. And is that the kind of the way you want to shoot? Would you like to shoot the new Hawk the Hunter series in New Zealand, or?
No, Hawk the Hunter. Currently, at the moment, is planned to shoot in Lithuania.
Right.
Because I've worked with Lithuania before. I did 2 years there for Warner Brothers, for a series called The New Adventures of Robin Hood. And I need to build some quite complicated sets, and I just can't afford to build them anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so that's my preferred spot at the moment. Well, I'd like to do something back in New Zealand.
So the new film,
Hawk the
which
Hunter.
is currently in development, in production, pre-production.
We're ready to go, subject to the Kickstarter producing the goodies. We're ready to shoot.
Fantastic.
We would shoot
So
in November.
Can you say who your cast members are?
No.
Or
Simply because we have lists,
yeah.
but we're not going to offer it to anybody until we know we've got the money. I've been down that road too many times, and it just upsets people and they get disappointed. When I've got the money, then I'll make the offers.
Because 2009, you almost had Tom Hardy.
Well, we did. Tom Hardy was going to play Hawk. He really loved it, but of course, I don't think I can afford him now.
No.
I mean, he's a great actor. I love him. I think he's one of the best exports we've got from this country. I really do like him, and I wish I could get someone like him. But I'm going to have to go for a newcomer.
Yeah. And these sort of qualities of Hawk, because he's got to be right to carry the new film
Indeed,
and the series. Do you want to use the same
Oh, yeah.
actor for both?
Yeah, we will offer it to whoever we offer the part to. Will agree to go and do the series afterwards if and when it happens.
And you've done casting already? Or
No,
you still waiting?
we've assembled lists,
Okay.
but I won't even look
No,
at
that's
it.
fine. I
Yeah.
won't use it.
No, I won't even talk to
Yeah.
anybody regarding. I wouldn't speak to an actor
No.
at this point, and not until the only person I've spoken to is Ray Charleston, unfortunately. But and I wouldn't want to disappoint him even.
Yeah. And the qualities of Hawk, what are they? What does?
Well, he's just a hero. Isn't he?
He's a hero.
He's the hero, and he will have in this one. He's got a lot of internal things going on. His wife's been killed. He's had to kill his brother. His father's dead. He's got all those things going on, and of course now we will see that the stone itself has an effect on him. But no further will I go with that one.
Nope, that's absolutely fine. And you've got a game company as well who are interested.
We're very, very, very lucky indeed. We have Rebellion on board. Great people, great stuff. They've already contributed an enormous amount of work for us. I mean, you'll see on the Kickstarter campaign itself, when you go to Kickstarter and you pull up Hawk the Hunter, you'll see the presentation. Brilliant. They've done a fantastic job.
Brilliant.
They're a whole team of Hawk fans. I mean, when I first went down there and met Jason, who runs the company, I took the original sword down, and it was like it's called the Holy Grail. And there was a queue to have their photographs taken. They're really good. They're nice people to work with. And, I like working with nice people. I don't really want to work with people who aren't very nice.
No, they don't stay around, do they? Well, maybe they do.
Life's too short, and in my case, it's even shorter.
Now the way you're going to make or want to make, you're not directing.
I'm not
are you?
directing.
Was that a tough decision to make? Or?
Not really, no. It's a sensible decision to make. I mean, this is a young man's game. This is a tough schedule, and I've got a young director that I've worked with before. He worked with me on Dark Knight, who I know will do what I want him to do without compromising his artistic thing. You've got to be up. It's a 12-hour day in Lithuania in November. I've been there. I've done it. No, thank you. Now I just want to do the creative stuff now. I'm concentrating on this, working on the TV series so that's got a good shape to it, and I also develop other stuff for Westwood Productions.
And obviously, speaking as a photographer, the visual style. Are you looking
Exactly the same.
Same as the Hawk was all that time ago, or
No.
same as
Hawk the Slayer. If I move out of those parameters, I won't have any fans.
Yeah.
I've already been told that.
Yeah, I agree.
Why? Well, it was successful. Why change it?
So everything's going to be as practical as possible, or you're going to try and have?
Oh, are you talking about CGI?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will have to have CGI because some of the stuff in it, God knows how we thought we were going to do it originally. Yeah, that's where Rebellion come in. I mean, they've already shown me some of the material that we're going to use. I'm amazed. I mean, I think for a small budget movie, this will be really good. Mum and Dad can take the kids to see this as they can Hawk. A lot of fun in it. Key to it is good story. Doesn't matter how many effects you have, or how many battles, or how many people you have. If you ain't got a good story, don't turn your
And
camera.
characters, wonderful characters. And I think the cast you had in the original
And that's what
carried it, we made it.
Absolutely right, and that's what we're striving for this time. We'll have a lot of those, one-day characters again.
Yeah.
We'll go for the best British actors we can possibly get, if they'll come and do it. And we will have the same, type of feel to it.
There are quite a few quite famous people who may want to do a cameo just for the sake of it.
They can knock on my door. It's a small budget. There's not a lot of money, but if they're available, we'll approach as many people as we can.
Yeah.
And you always understand that if they can't do it or don't wish to do it, that's fine. But you've got to try it.
Absolutely. Now that you're doing a Kickstarter, it's going to start on the 30th of August.
Correct.
Is that right? And that's 2015 because
At Fright Fest. I announced it at Fright Fest.
Okay, and it's going to run for 30 days?
It runs to the end of the month.
Okay. And you have a Twitter account, is that right? And
there's a Twitter account and there's a Facebook.
Okay, Twitter I believe is Slayer_Hawk.
I think that's correct.
And I don't know what your Facebook account is.
Neither do I.
Okay, that's.
Andrew will tell you that.
Okay, we'll have it down here and on the podcast. I'll tell you at the end.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, Terry. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the campaign. Oh, before we say, what are the rewards? What can people get? If they...
There are lots of good rewards. I mean, there are the usual things, but there are some different ones, and there's one of them specifically. All the magazines that I've done, these sort of interviews for, all jump on the one reward. I'm going to direct one day. We're calling that Fan Day, and this is a big scene in a barn, a bar, where Galt and the new dwarf Hanther arrive, and they get involved in a John Wayne stroke fight, and I'm going to direct that. So one of the rewards for the fans here, if you want to be seen, you can come to this day. You can be directed by me. You can have the special menu that they serve at this bar, which is sour boys, jigger ants and those type of things, and we'll spend the day together. The press have already locked onto it, and we've got a huge amount of them want to be there on the day. So that's one of the rewards. There are coins that Hawk uses in the scene that are available. There's going to be a lot of limited edition things like swords. There'll be t-shirts, the usual stuff. I mean, Andrew could give you a more detailed list, but I think they're really excellent rewards.
That's brilliant.
And there's also be
and the film. Is that one of the rewards actually having
downloaded the film?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's the usual stuff.
Yeah. And if you film it, I think talk about November, you want to film it. When would you like to release it?
24 weeks after we finish shooting.
Wow, that's an incredible turnaround.
Well, it's 24 weeks. You've got quite a lot of CGI to do.
Yeah.
And we're hoping for a UK release, summerish, somewhere around about then. But that I would leave to our distribution guy, Joe.
Fantastic. Okay, well, make sure you tell everyone, share this, and get involved in the Kickstarter.
We want them involved in that Kickstarter. Come on board. It's the fans that are going to make this movie.
Fantastic.
They will do it. Kickstarter, 30th. Let's get in there.
Thank you very much, Terry.
Okay,
Thank
fine.
you. That's great.
Good.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. We want to hear from you. Find and follow us on Twitter @TheFantasyPod